Albuquerque, New Mexico. A principal there has now had to apologize for what she says was a mistake in a PowerPoint presentation that she gave to teachers and staff. And as a part of that PowerPoint presentation given by Judith Tulamis, who is, again, the school's principal, it was to inform staff about the new APS transgender procedural directive that went into effect this summer. And one of the slides had this statement. It said, quote, "Biological sex must be seen as a spectrum or a range of possibilities rather than a binary set of only two options." And it continued. This is a quote. Okay, this is not, skewed or anything like this. This is a direct quote. In other words, from August 8th, 2016, our students at Carlos Rey will collectively be addressed as students, coyotes, engineers, scientists, mathematicians, etc. No longer will it be acceptable to call our students boys and girls. And they call this a new paradigm shift. Now, the spokesman from the school, Monica Armetta, is saying that it was that the principal had copied and pasted the information from an LGBT advocacy group, and this does not represent district policy. She said, quote, "She's apologized profusely. She was embarrassed and has made every attempt to correct her mistake with the staff. This is nothing more than a mistake by a human being." Now, do mistakes happen? Absolutely. We talk about this all the time. We were talking about this with Donald Trump the other day. Is it possible to say the wrong thing or to say something incorrect? Well, of course it is. The principal sent off an email to staff saying that she had misunderstood the new rules and was apologizing, quote, "to whomever was offended or made uncomfortable during the presentation." It says, "Please disregard the following, which is identified as a part of the district procedural directive." And that quotes that whole section that I just read to you. They're calling the outcry over this principal's mistake ridiculous. The spokeswoman said, "We are now in a situation that is so emotional that anything that happens is going to be elevated, whether people know it is true or not. Still, because of the emotional reaction that this issue continues to evoke, it's going to garner all sorts of attention." Okay, folks, are you buying this? Are you, is anybody out there, believing this for a single second? Because I'm not. I'm not buying this at all. She says it was a mistake, and I'll grant it. Given public speeches and everything, of course it is. It's entirely possible to make mistakes. I do it all the time, and you always try to correct it and blah blah blah. But this was put in writing, okay? And they say that she copied and pasted this from some LGBTQA plus whatever the hell they call themselves now advocacy group. That she was just copying and pasting it, trying to inform everybody. But read exactly what it said again, okay? In other words, from August 8, 2016, our students at Carlos Rey will be collectively addressed as students, coyotes, I'm assuming that's the mascot, engineers, scientists, mathematicians, etc. It will be no longer acceptable to call our students boys and girls. There's no possible way that she copied and pasted that from some publication from some group. There's just no way. We are watering everything down, and this is the point I'm trying to make here in this this opening section of the show. We are losing track of everything, all in the name of being inclusive and not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, the whole deal. Simply because people get upset about things, we're going to water down every single thing we do, every single thing we say. And then again, we wonder why kids are so confused. Why doesn't the millennial generation have direction? Why don't they have goals? They don't even know what they are. Because crazy whack job liberals have a problem with calling them boys and girls. And again, I completely understand. There are people out there with, gender dysmorphia and all these other things who legitimately identify as a different sex. But because this has become such a pressing deal, such a quote-unquote important thing, they have to treat everybody with these inclusivity deals. It's confusing. It used to be, I remember growing up. Now, again, times are changing, and that's part of the problem. I remember growing up, there was questions about, Barbie dolls and G.I. Joes. What do you do if your little son plays with Barbie dolls? Does that mean he's gay? Or if your daughter plays with G.I. Joes, does that mean she's a lesbian? Folks, how about kids being kids and let things be figured out? And maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm completely wrong here. But do we have to put so much emphasis on these different thought processes? Because again, this goes back to the youngest of kids. Grade school kids learning that, some folks are a boy, but they think they're a girl. Some folks think they're a girl and think they're a boy. Some folks think they're a speckled fucking rhinoceros. I don't know. How about we teach biology? How about we teach that, this is a boy, this is a girl, and then if a child is confused, then that's when the inclusivity comes up. And then their parents and, their support system can talk that stuff out and help them figure it out. I don't know. It just seems like everything, that there's no focus on anything anymore. That there is no grasp of anything anymore. Jamie says, I'm tired of the minority having more say than the majority. That's not how America works. Todd says, well, it is at least in part how a Democrat republic works. Okay. Representative government. Okay, that's what we have. No one group, no special interest, no nothing should have more of a say than anybody else. Let that sink in. I'm talking minorities. I'm talking, sexual orientation. I'm talking whatever you want to look at. There is no group out there that should have more pull, more say, more anything than anybody else. That's true equality. All this crap we see nowadays, pushing for equality and all that, not a bit of it is truly equal. Not one bit of it is truly equal. And they're not interested in equality. They're interested in making demands. They're interested in making excuses. It's ridiculous, folks. And really, it's really sad to me. To be perfectly honest, it breaks my freaking heart to see these things, keep popping up and keep occurring over and over and over again. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse because every time a minority group, and I don't care if it's based on race, religion, sexuality, imagination, whatever, anytime any group stands up and demands something or freaks out about something, we all bow down at the altar of political correctness, and the world comes to a stop. Everything comes to a stop because, something has to be done here. And again, this is not about equality. They'll say that. They say it over and over and over again. I don't believe in that. Okay, it's not about equality in any way, shape, or form. Check out this next article here. I'll get it posted up in the thread. Sorry, it's taking me a little bit more time to post things than it normally does because of the way I have to do this today, but so far so good, so I'm not going to jinx it. Next article's already posted in the thread. Give it a little read there. Let's get your opinions on this. Same sort of discussion. This idea of forced equality, this idea of making everything inclusive. This will come to no shock to anybody, but what is this? California State University, the Fresno campus, recently held a 3-day student retreat only for black students. Okay? This was a blacks-only student retreat. Now, the goal of this, okay, I'm not even going to get into, what would happen if you did a whites-only retreat. We all know what would happen, all right? That's pretty clear. But what I find ridiculous about this is the goal of this retreat was to help incoming African-American students adjust to college life and get involved in campus community. It was free to participating students who enjoyed housing, meals, workshops, and activities. It says about 40 new students and a dozen returning students took part, and about $16,000 was budgeted for this event. And they called it the Hammurabi Student Retreat. Oh my God, folks. Okay. I don't even know where to start with the ridiculousness here. Okay, anything that you say, let's pull together was the tagline of this. And again, it was supposed to foster, inclusion and help everybody transition to college life and blah, blah, blah. And yet it's segregated. That makes no sense whatsoever. Okay, that's building one community and isolating them from everything else. That's enforcing this idea and this narrative that it's somehow going to be harder for them because of the color of their skin. I have to think if I were African American, if I was subjected to this, I think this would be more offensive to me than anything else. Because here you're telling young black youths that we have to do something special for you. We have to do something special to help you integrate, to help you be successful. You can't do it on your own because of the color of your skin. That's how I take it. Am I wrong in looking at that? I mean, go ahead and post up on the thread if I'm looking at this the wrong way. But if I were involved in that section of society, I think I would be a little upset about that. Because, you can't you can't do this on your own. You're not smart enough. You're not skilled enough. Whatever. You're tearing them down. You're not building anybody up here. You're enforcing this agenda, this narrative, and you're dividing the country at every level. Again, this is another situation where we're confusing young, impressionable minds. These are young, quote-unquote, adults, okay? Riddled full of hormones. They're free on their own for the first time in their lives. And the first thing they're being told is that racism is so bad, divisions are so bad, that we've got to do something special just for you, just to give you a chance to even remotely be successful. Okay, and then the other thing I have a problem with, all right, they called this the Hammurabi Student Retreat. Now, of course, Hammurabi was the gorilla and everything that was shot and killed at the zoo because the stupid little kid, went over the fence and got in there. What would happen, okay, what would happen if anybody named anything specifically for black people named it after a gorilla or monkey? Is that not extremely over-the-top racist? Go back to the civil rights era when racism